The 49ers just had their 12th and final practice of training camp. They will cut down their roster to 53 players later this week and play their season opener against the Cardinals 2 weeks from today. Here's who stood out during practice number 12. Strong safety Jaquiski Tartt. He intercepted Jimmy Garoppolo during team drills and returned the pick for a touchdown. This was Tartt's first pick of a terrific camp for him, during which he led the first-string defense in pass breakups. The 49ers' defensive evolution toward using more man-to-man coverage suits Tartt well. But despite all the pass breakups in camp, Tartt still dropped 3 picks. He needs to hold onto the ball to become a playmaker. And today, he held onto the ball. Plus, he intercepted it while playing zone coverage. It was by far his best play of camp, but I still say the 49ers should have traded for strong safety Jamal Adams. Wide receiver Dante Pettis. I rarely put a player in the good section who dropped 2 passes in one practice as Pettis did Sunday. One of the drops technically wasn't even a drop because it hit him in the face and never actually touched his hands. Pettis turned his face late after making his break near the sideline and got beamed in the face mask. Free safety Jimmy Ward actually laughed at him. Usually when Pettis has a couple bad plays, he goes in the tank and has a terrible practice. But today, he rallied and caught 5 passes from Garoppolo, including 2 touchdown passes in the red zone. Overall, Pettis had a solid camp with a few fantastic days. Today wasn't fantastic, but it certainly was good. Pettis probably will start week 1 if Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk both are injured. Wide receiver Kevin White. He scored a touchdown while running an end around in the red zone. Also received 2 targets deep down the field and was open both times, but the quarterback overthrew both passes. I'm guessing the 49ers would love to keep White on their practice squad this year. He looks good in camp, but probably hasn't gotten enough opportunities to make the 53-man roster. Running back Jeff Wilson Jr. He caught 3 touchdown passes from Garoppolo in the red zone. Wilson Jr. is a quality short yardage running back, but his best attribute by far is his receiving ability. He's an excellent receiver for a running back, and that's no overstatement. He absolutely should make the final roster. Cornerback Emmanuel Moseley. He broke up a deep pass intended for Pettis during team drills. Moseley went all of camp without giving up a big play. He's the most consistent cornerback on the team after Richard Sherman. Moseley should start week 1 and probably will. Nickelback Jamar Taylor. He broke up a pass in the end zone intended for Kendrick Bourne. Bourne had the ball in his hands for a split second, and Taylor poked it out before Bourne got his feet down. Clutch play by a guy on the roster bubble. Still not sure if he'll make the team, though. Nickelback Jared Mayden. He read Nick Mullens' eyes and intercepted him during team drills. Mayden was covering the flat and dropped out of his zone to make the pick. This was Mayden's second interception during the past 2 practices. This undrafted rookie is coming on big time. He might just earn a spot in the 53-man roster. He certainly deserves one. He looks like a playmaker who excels in zone coverage. Linebacker Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles. He broke up a pass from Mullens during team drills. Flannigan-Fowles is a former safety who looks like a safety and plays well in coverage. No idea how he plays against the run, but he looks like a good athlete who can cover and play special teams. Defensive tackle Kevin Givens. He lined up at defensive end during one-on-ones and beat Justin School around the edge. Givens rushes so low to the ground, he's difficult for School to block because School is 6'7". School twisted and fell on his face trying to lock onto Givens today. Givens better make the final roster. If the 49ers try to sneak him on their practice squad, another team should pick him up. Defensive end Kerry Hyder. He beat starting right tackle Mike McGlinchey for a sack around the edge during one-on-one pass rush drills. Hyder has been a starting defensive end in practice ever since Nick Bosa injured his leg. Hyder almost certainly will make the team. Quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. He made quick decisions and threw 5 touchdown passes in the red zone. After practice, defensive coordinator Robert Saleh said Garoppolo is much more decisive than he was a year ago, and Saleh is absolutely correct. Garoppolo doesn't hold the ball in the pocket as long as he did during last year's camp. But being more decisive doesn't mean Garoppolo is making better decisions. He still throws about 1 pick per practice. Today, he threw his 3rd pick 6 of camp. He also fumbled a snap from the shotgun, meaning he committed 2 turnovers. It's good that he's improving in the red zone and becoming more decisive. Now he needs to become a better decision maker. That's the next stage of his development. Linebacker Fred Warner. He did not practice after sitting out all of Friday's team drills. The 49ers say Warner isn't injured, But other starters played today, such as Garoppolo, Trent Williams, Laken Tomlinson, Raheem Mostert, Mike McGlinchey, Richard Sherman, Jimmy Ward, Eric Armstead, Quan Alexander, plus more. I'm guessing Warner has a minor injury and the 49ers don't want to report it just yet. But I have no idea. He could have a serious injury or no injury. And the 49ers won't tell us. They have been less than forthcoming about injuries all throughout camp. We'll know the truth next week when the 49ers release their first injury report. Linebacker Dre Greenlaw also sat out practice. The 49ers didn't say why. Defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw also sat out practice. 49ers didn't say why. Quite an underwhelming training camp for the 49ers' top draft pick of 2020. Quarterback Nick Mullens. He forced a pass downfield to Sean Poindexter and got picked off by Jared Mayden. To be fair, it was 4th and 15, so Mullens had to force the ball down the field. Still, he has thrown lots of picks in camp because he has been much more aggressive than he was in the past. I doubt he would be so aggressive if he played with the starters in a real game. Quarterback CJ Beathard. He overthrew Kevin White deep 2 times when White was open. Beathard's best quality remains his ability to take a hit. He does not deserve to make this team, but probably will because the 49ers seem to want 3 quarterbacks during the pandemic. At least I'll never have to watch Beathard practice again, I hope. Offensive lineman Colton McKivitz took reps at center with the second-string offense, which means he probably won't start week 1 at right guard, meaning Tom Compton probably will start week 1 at right guard, which might be the worst news to come out of training camp. The 49ers still have 2 weeks to make the right decision. Will they? Same thing. Veteran practice squad guy, I think. That being said, look, let's not dismiss this because Jauan Jennings has really played poorly. They've tried to make him into a red zone guy, and he's made a couple of catches in the red zone, but they're also trying to make him like a all-around receiver, and he's making Nick Mullens look bad. At least two of Nick Mullens' interceptions have been because he's thrown to Jauan Jennings, and Jennings either wasn't looking for the ball or tried to catch it and tipped it to the other team. I don't see what Jennings really does that well. He's in the same mold of Kendrick Bourne, but he's not making plays. He's not as good of a route runner as Bourne. He's not as quick as Bourne, and he drops the ball. He's a big possession receiver who doesn't have good hand-eye coordination. I don't know. I'm not sure he's going to make this team. And if he doesn't, he'll get beat out by someone like Tavon Austin, who does have a role. I mean, he runs end-arounds in practice. He runs jet sweeps in practice. Doesn't return punts, though. I think that's a bad sign. The punt returner is probably Trent Taylor. I think if Tavon Austin was going to make this team, he'd be returning punts. The fact that he's not tells you practice squad.